Welcome to MarcusG.TV. I'm Chef Marcus Giuliano, and I'm a chef on a mission. Today's mission is nutrition. It must have been when I was about 16 years old, probably 16 years old. 16 years old. I'm 41 now. So this probably was back in the late 80s, maybe the early 90s. I'm not sure if I was 16, 17, 18, 15. But I was listening to Howard Stern on the radio. This is when he was out of his New York radio station, 92.3. And we used to get it up here in the Catskills. So I was listening to him one day, and they started talking about milk. And I was kind of shocked at this. But Howard Stern was saying how, and you know, I never heard him really talk nutrition, because that really wasn't his, obviously nutrition is not Howard Stern's thing. But he was like, milk is terrible for you. Milk is not designed for a human. Milk is terrible. Milk is not good. Milk is a junk food. Milk is detrimental to your health. And I'm like, whoa. You know, here I'm some kid in high school, you know, taking, you know, nutrition and health class, and you've got to have milk for strong bones and protein and all this and vitamin D and all this other stuff. And I was like totally blown away. I'm like, this is mind-boggling to think that somebody's saying milk and dairy products are bad for you, especially Howard Stern, disc jockey, the shock jock. So that's the first time I ever heard milk was bad for us. That's my very first introduction. Now, I don't consume milk. My kids don't consume milk. I haven't consumed milk in years because it's such a turnoff to me. My kids have never even had a glass of milk. They're 14 and 12. Never, ever, ever had a glass of milk. So we're not cheese eaters in our family. So just dairy products are just a no-no, and I learned that a long time ago when I gave up my asthma. Yes, I gave up my asthma because I like to say I didn't. You know, I gave it up. The things I was doing was contributing to my asthma. So I decided to give up those factors, and dairy was a huge factor of getting rid of my asthma because it's very mucus forming, and first off, dairy is just. It's an inflammatory food to begin with, so that it can cause a lot of problems with your body. But back to this Howard Stern thing, you know, that's the very first time, and it kind of like sunk an anchor into my brain somehow that milk wasn't that good, and I kind of started questioning things along the way from that point on. I was like, you know, and he made a valid argument. Him and Robin made a valid argument about why milk just should not be being consumed. So I was like, wow, you know, I mean, I've never heard of this before, and very interesting, you know. So I didn't say like, well, you know, this is, you know, he doesn't know what he's talking about, this and that, because he made valid points, and I listened to it. So, but here's just some of the issues with dairy. Dairy has several issues of why I feel you shouldn't be consuming dairy. Remember those ads where it says milk makes strong bones? You haven't seen those in a while, right? That's because milk doesn't make strong bones. There's study after study after study. For years this has been saying that the high protein levels in milk will actually leach the calcium out of your bones and cause weak and brittle bones, osteoporosis. So the countries that have the highest milk consumption, UK, Finland, and the US, the three highest countries, have the highest cases of osteoporosis. So it's, you know, it's just, it doesn't make sense to the average person, but that's those are the facts, that's what's happening. Cow's milk is intended for baby cows. We're the only species that crosses the species barrier when it comes to consuming another species' milk. No other species does that. Milk is specifically designed for our own species. So milk, our human milk, is a certain percentage of protein. Cow's milk is way above that percentage of protein. When you get to rat's milk, it's 63% protein compared to 43% protein of human milk. So the amount of protein is the direct correlation of the time it takes the infant, the baby of that species, to double its body weight. So the shorter it doubles its body weight, like a rat will double its body weight within days, right? So it's 63% protein. A cow will, you know, double its weight in 3 months, so it's like 11% protein. A human takes 6 months to double its body weight, so it's 4% protein. So the higher the protein, the quicker the species doubles its body weight from birth. Okay, so people say, well, I consume milk that doesn't have the added hormones. Well, milk still has hormones from the cow, right? So you're still ingesting, whether you're ingesting a synthetic hormone or the natural hormone, you're still getting hormones from the animal. So the whole hormone thing, you're getting it regardless, okay? Cows are just fed inappropriate food. They're not fed their natural grass diet most of the time. They're on concrete platforms. Even some of the organic brands don't feed their cows the proper way, because the organic standards sometimes are written so loosely, so big companies can be part of the organic game. That's how that's done. Dairy products, when they're metabolized, are very acid forming. You want to consume alkaline food, so dairy is acidic. It's like I said before, it's an anti-inflammatory food. When I just went to see Brendan Brazier speak, the triathlete who counsels and has his own product line of supplements, he claims that your recoveries are going to be much slower if you're consuming dairy products. Okay, that for a professional athlete or any athlete, if you want to work out day after day after day, whether it's go to the gym, whether it's hit the track, consuming milk is going to slow your recovery down. So, which means you have to take more days off, more time off, or your body's not going to get the proper recovery to rebuild. So that's super important. He said dairy is one of those foods that he encourages all athletes just to get off of altogether. I mean, cows, besides not being fed the right food, are lived in, they live, like I said, some of them are concrete slabs. They're in confinement, okay? Cows are supposed to be out on grass. They're supposed, that's what cows do. They're supposed to be out on pasture. So, you know, there's a lot of downsides to dairy, and, you know, I really took what Howard Stern said, the shock jock. I really listened to that, and I was like, wow, maybe there is something to this, actually, even though I was a young kid, and I was learning different in school at the time. It still made an impression on me, and, you know, what does Howard Stern know about nutrition? Well, obviously, looking back now, you know, I think he was right on his stance on milk. So good job, Howard Stern. It actually, you know, it actually taught me something way back then, and taught me to at least question what I was being taught, because he presented the case beautifully, and I was like, wow, you know, he sounds right, you know, and I'm going to school and that sounds right, so who's right here? So I'm Chef Marcus Giuliano. Thanks for watching. Do you consume milk? Do you not consume milk? What are the reasons? Pop them down in the comment thread. I'm Chef Marcus Giuliano. Thanks for watching.